Sunday Surefire podcast. I'm your host, the commish. Joining me today is the co-host, Aaron Downtown Brown,
Hey, hey.
and the other co-host, Ethan Weaver.
Kamish, it's redraft season. How you doing?
I am doing great during redraft season. This is the best time of year on the calendar. We love redraft season. It is the heart and soul of the fantasy season right now, and I'm excited. And I'm excited for this episode too, where we're going to go through a 12-team full PPR mock draft. We split ourselves up across the board here. I'm going to be drafting from the third position. Aaron's going to be drafting from the number 9 spot, and Ethan's going to be on the turn at the 12th position. We are going to be using a 1 QB format today. We'll be drafting a team also with 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex spots, and that's the gist of it. We're going to be using it on Sleeper. Follow along here with us on the YouTube, and it's going to be a really fun exercise to buzz through this, and I'm excited to get it rolling here. So here we go. We're going to open up our draft window. I'm going to be on the clock here in no time at all. And we'll see who comes flying off the board here. And it goes receiver heavy, as you might expect, right off the rip, with CD Lamb, who just signed his contract today, going right off the board, followed quickly by Christian McCaffrey. So I'm up here at the 103 spot. It's a full PPR league, and I'm just going to go in a little bit off kilter here. If this was a half PPR, I'd definitely be smashing a running back here. My 102 is Breece Hall, so we go in that direction. But I'm actually going to change it up here, and I'm going to go Tyreek Hill at the top spot here, just leading into what the guy did last year, coming back to the same offense, volume monster. And I mean, it's Tyreek Hill. I don't need a big long explanation on him. So give me him to start my team in a full PPR draft, and I'm loving it right out of the gate.
I like it, Kamish. So I guess that comes to me at the nine spot here. And it's funny, I called I think I'm gonna go with my flag plant player here. So I mean, much like you, I know there's a lot of good running backs this year in the first round you can grab. But I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson. I really like I said I would grab Garrett as early as the ninth pick in a redraft. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I like Garrett Wilson this year and see what I get back in round two.
Okay, that brings me to the turn here, the 112 to 1 turn. And at the 112, I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back out of Detroit. I think especially in full point PPR, he has a ton of upside. I know he's dealing with a little hamstring issue right now. Hopefully he gets over that quickly, but I just feel like he has a ton of upside in the back end of the first round. And honestly, I kind of like the middle round receivers this year. So at the 112 2-1 turn, I'm not really opposed to kind of going running back. But there is a guy on the board that did fall into the second round in Puka Nacua. So now I'm kind of torn. Do I go maybe JT and then hammer running backs, a little old school methodology here, or do I go Puka Nacua? You know what? I think I'm going to turn back the clock. I think I'm going to go Gibbs JT right off the rip here.
There we go. There we go. Getting
Ooh,
back to his roots, back to
Yeah.
2008 when you're drafted in a
Yeah.
standard league, double barrel running back out of the gate. Love it. Love it.
let's
That brings us
go.
back to Aaron here in the second round. What are you doing, Aaron?
Yeah, so this is funny. So I mean, I think, part of the reason why I wanted to go Wilson at the nine is I think he can be a top five wide receiver, and I think there's some running backs here in the second round that have that top five potential as well, right? So I'm probably gonna go running back here as well, and considering it is a full point PPR draft that we're going, I'm gonna go with my boy Travis Etienne, the RB3 of last year. Should be still part of the Jaguars passing game. I know another flag plan of mine was my boy Pacheco, but I think the PPR advantage here with Etienne pretty much convinces me to grab Etienne. So I can kind of go any direction I want in the upcoming rounds. But I think you're just getting Etienne here with Garrett Wilson is a solid start in the draft for me.
I don't hate it. I mean, I think there's a chance that ETN's being slept on. I mean, like you said, he was a top 4 running back last season. And I mean, what's to say he doesn't have a nice bounce back year and come back and do something similar this year in an offense that, well, they want to pass, but they'll also pass to ETN. So I don't hate that at all. And that gets me here to my on the clock with my second pick here. And I'm kind of weighing a similar decision, I guess you could say, to Ethan, where do I want to go running back here in the early going, or do I want to kind of morph into an RB0 approach? And I mean, I'm looking at a few different guys here. I mean, Chris Olave is on the board for me, and obviously an alpha in his own right, or at least in his offense, should be sucking up all the pass catching volume he can handle. I mean, I'm a little tempted to just double tap Miami Dolphins players here with Devon Achane, just how explosive he was on a relatively small sample size. I mean, he was by far and away the leader in yards per touch a season ago, on a per touch basis. Like I said, smaller sample size with some injuries in there. So you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and start with two Miami Dolphins. I'm going Devon Achane at the end of round two.
Aaron's hurting with the two Miami Dolphins here right now.
Ooh, that's one of my cardinal rules there, but your team,
Two
not mine there, Kamish.
two players on the same team. But hey, what do we say? You want to target players in what?
Good offenses.
In good offenses. And the
Also,
Miami.
no, I just like the A chain pick. I don't think there's a player with more upside than him. To get him at the back of the second and pair him with Tyreek Hill, I like that.
Yeah, I don't quite have the stones. Now I'm back on the clock here at 303 to go ahead and grab Jalen Waddle as well and make it a trifecta of Dolphins. What's it called? The school, is it a school of Dolphins? Is that what the
Oh,
term is?
Yeah, so let's go with it. Let's go with
Yeah, the New England Patriots fan of me just can't do it there. This one's tough here. There's a few different ways I could go with this next pick, but I'm just gonna go Mike Evans, old reliable, Mr. 1,000 yards. It's a PPR league. I mean, he's probably gonna flirt with double digit touchdowns again. I have no problem with him as my WR2. So give me Evans at the 303.
all right, all right. So, I mean, I guess as I said, with starting off with my draft, I kind of went running back and wide receiver. So I kind of can kind of look what's on the board. And it's interesting in this one that Pacheco dropped here. I was thinking going another wide receiver, but Pacheco being a flag plan of mine, going into the 3-9, I think is a steal in this mock here. So for me, it's really tough for me to pass up Pacheco here this late.
Click the button.
Um,
Just do it.
so I think I'm just gonna do it.
See, and this is kind of why I double tapped running back. I was pretty confident there would be a few receivers that I'd be very happy with being my wide receiver one and wide receiver two. Um, Honestly, there's more than two that I would have no problem taking here as my wide receiver one or two. I'm gonna go with upside right now at the end of the third round with actually, you know what? This I think DJ Moore should probably go before Waddle. I'm gonna go DJ Moore and then Jalen Waddle, back to back picks. And if I get to start my draft with Gibbs, Taylor, Moore, and Waddle, I think I'd be ecstatic because I think I mean we're talking about a guy in DJ Moore who was top 10 receiver last year, and Jalen Waddle obviously had a down year, but he has just as much upside as any receiver in the league with that speed and that offense. So I'm happy to start this draft the way I did.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I like it. I guess, for me, as I said, I think I'm still somewhat balanced, but I this is around where, I really like a lot of the wide receiver twos and wide receiver ones. So you got a couple of my guys right here too. I mean, you got Cooper Cup that can be, competing a little bit with um Puka this year. But I mean, I think I do want to fill out my wide receiver room a little bit. And I might go with the young guy here and just kind of because I basically what I want to
Ooh.
look at now is who's an alpha on their team. So when I look at the board,
You
I think
sniping
Pittman
commish? You sniping commish?
I might be, but yeah, I mean you got Pittman where he's probably the alpha there, but I kind of have question marks with A Rich this year. So I might snipe and do a Malik Neighbors selection
There
right
we
here.
go. And I thought I was planting the flag on Malik Neighbors. Love that. Aaron's been listening over there. I'm a little bummed I didn't get a share, but hey, at least you've been listening. That's great. Listen, I'm back up on the clock here with the 410, And there's a few players that I like on the board here at wide receiver. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient, and knowing that I'm going to be back on the board and with just 4 picks in between me here, I'm going to go ahead and grab one of the last two, what I say is elite tight ends. And I'm actually going to go Mark Andrews. I have him as my tight end too. As you if you would know that if you were checking my rankings on it's SundaySurefire.com/blog is the commission's top 200s out there. Andrews is my number 2 tight end on the season this year, just ahead of Trey McBride in the 3 spot. So happy to get him there at the 410. And I'm back up here and surveying the board here. It's an interesting position where the running backs are kind of a lot of veterans, a lot of veteran holdovers there. I only have one, so I could go in that direction. And receiver to me, it's still a little bit deep. And now this is one of those things where you have to consider where I just said I was on the clock with only a handful of picks between my 2 selections. Now that I'm on the back end of that selection, you kind of gotta make sure you get a guy that you like in the spot. So I'm gonna this might be a little bit of a reach here, but I just really like this Arizona offense this year, and I'm going to go ahead and select James Conner to be my number 2 running back. I know he's going to be the man out there, so give me Conner, and when he's on the field, he's going to be productive. So it's a redraft league. That's where I want to take my shot on the injury prone guys that are productive. So Conner at the 503 is what I went with.
All right, all right. Yeah, that's yeah, I think Kyler definitely turns Arizona's offense around this year, and I think when he's on the field, he's up to 15, 16 points per game, when healthy. So I think biggest question mark is when he's healthy. But as you went tight end and a couple other tight end, I mean Kettle just went off the board. I think this is also an important one. Not to panic. I think sometimes some managers just want to fill out their starting lineup here and just kind of just keep going down the list at times. But if looking at tier based at tight ends, I mean, you got Pitts, Ingram, Bowers here, and a Njoku that you can grab a little bit later. I'm not gonna panic pick tight end here, where I do think Pitts has a bounce back season. But I'm gonna actually go with a guy I'm also very high on. And he happens to be the top wide receiver on the board right now, and that's my boy George Pickens, another alpha. Like I said, my strategy is usually trying to get as many alphas in my starting lineup as possible. So I'm going George Pickens here.
No, George Pickens, I understand the upside. I probably won't have too many redraft shares of him. I think he's a better best ball candidate, which I do have a share in the Sunday Surefire Invitational there. But I think right now there's a couple of guys on the board at receiver that I really like. Um, Amari Cooper is staring me in the face,
Sure
and
is.
so it's tough to pass on him. But I'm torn between. I need to pick two of these next three guys. Just to keep it consistent with what I've been saying all off season, I'm gonna go my guy Christian Kirk here, and then another guy, especially in full point PPR, that I am just very, very high on. And I don't think he is going to get suspended this year. I think he's going to be the target leader in Kansas City. I think it's hard not to smash Rashee Rice here. So,
Staying
uh,
on brand.
yeah, just got to stay on brand there. But I mean, just looking at my board right now, I mean, I love where my draft's headed right now with locking up those 2 running backs in the beginning, and then just having a lot of my guys at receiver that I think are going to smash, especially in a full point PPR. So very happy with the way the board's fallen.
Yeah, no, this is I kind of like it's funny we're kind of going a lot of different approaches here at times, but yeah, this is kind of where you might see some wide receiver runs in your draft, but this is like, mid draft right now. So just kind of scanning the board as well. So quarterback, I mean, I think we've talked, I mean, it's pretty well known in most leagues that Kyler Murray is just a great value. He's over at pick 78. Could try to reach for a little bit at QB if I want. Um, Running backs, as you said, I would probably wait there. Going back to that tight end position. Um, I don't like having the double Jaguars either, so I'd probably pass on the Ingrams
Yeah,
and
he's choking
all
over
the
there.
world. So
Panic, Aaron, panic.
I know I'm panicking a little bit, so I'm gonna go back to the other strategy and kind of just go with filling my board with alphas, and I think Terry McLaurin right after the Dotson train. There's really not that many wide receivers right now for Jaden to throw to, so I might go Terry McLaurin right now. And as you look here, I'm pretty much. In my opinion, pretty much staffing myself in the starting line with alphas as or at least number one option. So I'm going Terry McLaren here.
Yeah, that was one of my gripes in the commission's top 200. He had Pickens and McLaurin, I believe, at 24 and 25 in his ranks. And I take Rashee Rice over those guys all day. In full point PPR, that is.
Yeah, when you were looking at half point PPR
Yeah,
rankings,
yeah.
so it's always good to get to read the context section that was at the top of that article.
Nah, come on now.
Yeah,
Well, that's why I preface in full point PPR because I figured your rankings were half.
yeah. Why look at the context when you can just have a
Yeah.
bold opinion? Uh, yeah, and I'll stand by that. Maybe even a full point PPR. I mean, Terry McLaurin is an alpha in his offense, whereas Rasheed Rice has to compete for targets, which someone like
Yeah,
Travis
because
Kelce, Xavier Worthy.
McLaurin has so many wide receiver two and one finishes. I know
Well,
he's
if
been
we're gonna make
great.
every excuse in the book for Drake London quarterback play, maybe we can go back and look at Terry McLaurin's history, receivers
What
quarterback
do you
he's played
mean?
with.
He's had great quarterbacks.
Yeah, yeah, he's done a lot more with just as bad quarterback play than someone like Drake London ever has. That's just a non-debatable fact if you're interested in those. But anyway, I'm on the clock here, so I'm ticking away here. I'll stop being right about Drake London for the third consecutive year, and I'll make a pick. So yeah, this is an interesting spot. Receivers are flying off the board like crazy. That board's getting picked over. And I can see the quarterback run. Richardson went off the board too, but I'm going to be a little bit patient on there, and just going to go ahead and what am I going to do other than panic here? I'm going to lean into some volume here. It's a low scoring offense, but I think this guy is the engine of the offense. I'm going to go. It's a hometown pick here. It's a homer pick. I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson at the 6'10". Just a ton of guys who uh, guys going to get a ton of volume in Alex Van Pelt offense that wants to pound the rock. It might be ugly at times, but I think he can definitely give me some dividends there as my third running back. Back on the clock here quickly with this next one. And I was going to go Xavier Worthy, just take a home run cut there in the seventh round. But he went. And so he's no longer on the board for me. And I am going to stick at wide receiver. Um, this is a guy I don't really love, but I think with enough receivers, we're right around 40 receivers off the board have come off where I'm comfortable in a full PPR setting, taking Calvin Ridley. That's at the 7-3. I mean, someone's going to be lead this team in targets. Hawkins is banged up and aging, so they paid Calvin Ridley in the offseason. I'm going to go ahead and assume they got plans for him, and I'll give me him with the 7-3.
All right. Yeah, really. I mean, I think especially with Hopkins, dealing, probably not starting week one or at least dealing through injuries. Ridley's a fine choice there. Um, I think, as you might have seen as I was kind of checking out who's available, I mentioned this guy earlier. I was kind of hoping he'd fall back in this range, but um, I I if he drops here, I told myself I probably would start filling out my quarterback position. I love Kyler Murray's upside.
Don't do it.
Uh,
No, don't do it.
so I just gotta click Murray here. I just think
Yep.
too good to be true this year. So I'm gonna go Kyler Murray in the seventh.
Yeah, I would have took Kyler Murray at the my 7-12 or 8-1 if he was still there. Even though I do usually like to wait on quarterbacks, but Kyler Murray in the back end of the seventh round, you can't pass that up. So don't blame you for smashing that pick there. So now I'm on the clock here. What do I want to do? I already have one guy locked in, so I just want to make sure I'm reviewing the board here. So I guess I'll just make my first pick. I'm just going to lock in the top tight end left on the board, one of my flag plants. Brock
There he
Bowers.
goes.
Yeah,
There it is.
I've been trying to wait on tight end, but I feel like as we get closer and closer to the season, it's hard to kind of wait on even a guy like Brock Bowers, even though he is a rookie. If you don't take him at the back end of the seventh or somewhere in the eighth, you're probably not going to get him, especially at where I'm at the turn. There's no way Brock Bowers is going to get back to me at the 9-12. So I'm happy to get the high upside in Brock Bowers. Obviously, you guys know how high I am on him, and they're going to use him all the formation, full point PPR. He's going to get targets. They, I mean, they don't have many options there. It's Myers, Adams, and Bowers. So I think he's going to have a great year, especially in full point PPR. And now for my 8-1. What do I want to do here? Honestly, there's oh God, I gotta stay on brand here. You guys know where I'm going. This
I
is
know
this
exactly
is,
where you're going.
this is a smash pick right here. Here we go. My boy Christian Watson here at day one.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a
Swinging for the upside. Love it.
this is a just a straight Sunday surefire pick right there.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, anytime you can grab Watson as your first flex or your last starter, I think in any draft you gotta reach for him. All right. So yeah, kinda I mean as I've been talking, I kind of been filling out my starting lineup here. I mean, I guess I can glance at the tight ends here. Um, I do like Ferguson's touchdown upside this year. With Dallas, I think he's a slight sleeper. But I'm gonna keep looking a little bit and see, do I want to have a pretty strong guy coming off the bench? So, um, as I said, I'm gonna keep scanning for alphas, my usual strategy there. And the guy that I first noticed here, PPR
Oh yeah, yeah.
machine, I'm gonna probably go Deontay here as my
Great
first guy
pick.
off
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
the bench.
yeah, great pick there. That's he's gonna be a target machine this year.
Yeah, especially in full PPR, 40 plus receivers off the board. That's an easy call. He was at the top of my queue, so thanks for that, Aaron. Um,
Night.
I'm tempted to grab one of my flag plant players here in Jaden Daniels at the quarterback position. However, this is what an instance I was talking about earlier, where you want to look at when you pick in close proximity, you want to look at the managers in between you and you, like in between your two picks. So if Aaron pans up just a little bit here, back to the top of the draft board, you'll see that the teams it's selecting at the 101 and 102 spot both have quarterbacks. Dak Prescott and Josh Allen, respectively, are off the board. So I'm going to wait here, and I'm going to take Jaden Daniels on the way back. So spoiler alert on that front of what's coming. Jay Daniels is coming in my ninth round, but I don't have to take him here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab Jackson Smith and Jigba, a player that is a lot of high upside, the number one pick in dynasty leagues at wide receiver a season ago. And I'm just going to hope for that Seattle has a bounce back year and that he kind of takes over that number two spot away from a guy like Tyler Lockett, who is aging in his own right. And then I'm going to go, like I said, right on brand and then grab my guy, Jaden Daniels, who I have ranked as quarterback 9 this season. Definitely ahead of ECR and consensus on that, but I'm happy to roll with my flag plant with Daniels in the ninth round.
All right, all right. No, this is interesting. So this is where, do I want to panic and break down and go tight end here? Kind of in the 100 pick range now. I mean, I could go with the strategy I said a while back ago. I'm looking at flex players. I don't even want to look at quarterback right now. So top off the board. Um, a couple guys aren't really jumping out to me. Um, I think I may want to try the strategy I said a while back where draft Hawkinson right now while he's injured, and I can potentially punt the tight end position knowing there's a lot of sleeper guys that I like this year. So I may just grab TJ Hawkinson right here.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit ahead of where ADP has Hawkinson, but I don't hate it. I mean, I have him ranked as a top 12 tight end. I have it at TE12, despite the fact that he's going to be missing at least the first 4 weeks of the season, just because he's how damn good the guy is. Like, I mean, he's going to be a player that the second half of the year that you're gonna love having in your lineup. But you do have to be a little bit patient this year to get that. But I think that you can fill the gap later with a stopgap type guy that you can get by with before Hawkinson does return to full form, hopefully for that playoff run.
Right. And we probably won't see who I go at sleepers. So I mean we I guess try to catch another YouTube or another show. I mean I like guys like Fant and a couple other guys down the list
Pulling on
at
my
tight end.
heartstrings. No fan.
Go ahead, Ethan.
Yeah, there's some late tight ends that you can pick up just to survive the first, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 weeks of the season until Hawkinson comes back. But if you can survive that, Hawkinson could be a league winning player down the stretch if you get him here in the ninth round. I do think you probably could have waited to the 10-4. I don't know. Anytime you see a player go on IR in the beginning of the season, people just kind of drop them down their boards like crazy. It's going to be interesting to see in all the drafts we're in where he goes. But I love the upside in TJ Hawkinson. Right now, I'm not loving the wide receiver board right here. I think actually the where I'm at right now, there's a ton of running backs I actually kind of like on the board right now. So I think I'm going to double tap running back again and get my RB3 and RB4. I'm going to go one very safe and one with high upside. I'll choose the high upside player first. I'm going to go Chase Brown, running back of the Cincinnati Bengals. I just love his upside this year. I mean, if it pans out, he could be a league winning player. I think it's me, him, and Moss. Hopefully, Brown takes on more of that third down pass catching role. This is full point PPR. And then, even though this is full point PPR, I'm going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm going to go Brian Robinson. I just think I have a ton of upside with my roster right now. I think Brian Robinson is going to get the majority of the in between the tackles touches. He's going to have a lot of touchdown upside. Hopefully, Jane Daniels and offense can take a step forward, and there's going to be some touchdown equity. I just think Brian Robinson is in for a very solid year, and I think he's going to be an RB2. So I'm happy to go Chase Brown and Brian Robinson here.
Robinson's a smash pick there in the 10th round. I mean, it's ridiculous that he even slipped this far. I don't see a scenario where he falls this far in most drafts. So I like the call for the reasons you mentioned, even though I have Jaden Daniels and he's going to run for all the rushing touchdowns in Washington this year. But no, I like that pick, Ethan.
All right, thank you.
All right, so kind of scanning kind of the best flex available. I guess I can check my queue. Oh, how did those guys get there? Will Fuller, Gabe Davis. I could wait a little bit. I could probably wait a little bit there. How to
Speaking of
find
on
a way
brand,
Yeah, Will Fuller missed the last like what 2-3 years with a finger.
yeah.
Hey, he's always on my queue. I'm ready to draft him if something happens there. But yeah, this is kind of the range where, kind of bench players, and I think with full point, the running back position I haven't drafted for a while, so I could look at kind of scan there. Um, yeah, we're kind of down to, I mean, this is probably where I want to kind of target either a third down back or maybe if I can find a starter. But I could probably wait a little bit in that respect. I know a lot of people are high on Tajay. I'm not as high on him this year, so I mean, I'm probably gonna scan again and look for um top target hogs here. I mean, we got our boy Josh Palmer down there a little bit, but um, I think maybe with the touchdown upside, I could just go the top wide receiver off the board right here with Sutton. I mean, that's probably the direction I'm gonna go. I mean, it is a bench player. If you got to throw in during a bye week or whatever, I mean, who knows? Sutton can come down with a touchdown any week. So I probably will actually just go with the top receiver on the board here with Sutton.
Continually just slept on Cortland Sutton. It's not a sexy pick by any means, but I mean he was a receiver one and a top 24 receiver, I should say, in 50% of the games he started and finished last year. So that's a nice solid bench option, an alpha in his own offense at least in Cortland Sutton. So I like that pick a lot. And that brings me to back up to the board here. I'm on the clock with the 10-10. And decisions on this one. I think this pick should make Aaron pretty happy. I'm going to be going
All right.
with one of his guys in Josh Palmer that you just mentioned.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I like
Just
it.
just a guy that it has an opportunity to lead his team in targets this season. I'm a big Ladd McConkey guy personally, but I like the discount I'm getting here in Palmer at the 10-10. And like I said, double digit rounds, you quickly start getting into go get a guy that you like territory, and he's a guy that I've liked more and more as a process has gone on here. So happy to get him in that spot. And then I think this might be another Aaron Downtown Brown guy
Ooh,
that I'm going to go with here. I'm going to roll with Jerome Ford from
Okay.
out of Cleveland. I mean, you got Nick Chubb starting the year on PUP. Nick Chubb is 100 years old with a lot of miles on him, coming back from a second debilitating knee injury, and they just caught Deonta Foreman today. So I'm gonna go. I mean, where's the ball gonna go? It's gonna go to Jerome Ford. So give me the volume in the 11th round, and I'm happy to take it.
right, right. I mean, interesting. And there's a couple sleeper wide receivers. Oh man, I'm looking there right there at my Gabe Davis queue there. But I mean, I've kind of went wide receiver heavy recently. As I said, I may scan and grab tight ends a little bit later. Um, as I said, I mean, I probably won't see it in this mock, but I like guys like Noah Fant. Even John Smith is sneaky this year. Greg Dulcich coming back, Parkinson. So I mean that's those are the example guys I would maybe go in this strategy. But I'm not gonna do that now. Gonna wait. And ooh, two guys I'm really high on. I gotta make a choice. Hubbard or J.K. Dobbins. I think in this round, I think the guy who's got the higher upside for the full season is J.K. Dobbins. It's a little bit of a riskier pick with his injury. I know Hubbard is going to start off the year as the RB1. So it's a little bit of a risk, but I'm going to take a shot and be a little bit riskier on this one with Dobbins because I just I got the feeling this year in that Greg Roman offense. I think J.K. beats out Gus Bus.
I think it's a fine call, honestly. I mean, we've seen these two guys share a backfield before, and when Dobbins was healthy, and obviously that's a major if, that he was the guy that they leaned on. And if Greg Roman has his way, it's probably going to be Dobbins if he's healthy. So we're in a range now where I'm comfortable taking that dice roll.
Yeah, I don't mind the pick. I do think it's a very risky pick, but there's obviously a ton of upside. I think the pick I'm about to make is probably the running back I would have took in that situation. Probably a better offense, and they like to run the ball. I'm gonna go Rico Dowdle here at the end of the 11th
Oh
round.
yeah.
Yeah,
One of
hammer,
Commission's guys there.
yeah, hammering some running back here. I just think if Rico Dowdle ends up being the Cowboys' leading rusher or the guy that comes in and gets some third down work. I know Zeke was really good for the Patriots actually last year in that realm, but I think right now if Rico Dowdle is the leading touch earner on the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe a Pollard situation a few years ago, um, when he kind of broke out, even though Zeke garnered more of the carries. But I do think Dowdle has a chance to lead this team in rushing. So I'm happy to get him and his upside at the back of the 11th. And I definitely need a quarterback. Some of these teams, which I don't think you'll see too much in a real draft, already drafted two quarterbacks. I thought Herbert or Trevor Lawrence were going to fall to me at the 11-12 or 12-1. They did not. So I'm probably just going to go Mr. Safety, Mr. Perennial quarterback one that everyone hates. I'm probably just going to go a little safety here with a little Kirk Cousins here. Um, I think he has the weapons in place. He's gonna have an awesome run game, which should open things up on play action. And every time Kirk Cousins is healthy, he's a QB1. It's not the sexiest quarterback to have on your roster. I kind of took a chance to see if Lawrence or Herbert would come back to me, but um, I mean it is what it is. Kirk Cousins is a pretty safe pick as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, I like that play, and it's kind of interesting. I may look at that route too, just to get a little bit of safety, considering I drafted a pretty mobile quarterback. Kyler Murray's not always reliable in that respect. Do love him when he's on the field, but I may want to just glance at quarterbacks here. And I guess what I'm thinking about is will some of the guys I like make it back to me a little bit later? And this is where, as Commissioner said, you got to scan to kind of see how everyone else is sitting. I probably would have had more time to do that on the board. So I could consider quarterback here, but just look at my top flex plays. As I said, I can draft my tight end position a little bit later, I think still. Love my Gabe Davis. This is like, home run shot territory where I may be looking at. So I love Gabe Davis. I love Rashid Shaheed this year too. Guys like even Jalen Polka. So I love these
You can't
guys
love
here.
them all, Aaron. You
I
got to pick
know,
one.
I know. So there's a lot. So
He
I
he
actually
he he
like
doesn't like Shaheed that much based on his offers he's sending me.
His words are speaking louder than his actions, it sounds like.
that's true. That's true. I mean, as much as like, so this is probably the round I like a lot of these guys. I'm gonna go with, now this is funny. This is the Aaron Brown, downtown Brown thinking here. I got Etienne as my running back. I even though I like Gabe, I'm not gonna double down with Etienne Gabe. I'm gonna go Rashid Shaheed here.
Hey, he's the wide receiver too in New Orleans. I mean, Olave can't get all the targets, right?
That's right.
And that brings me to my final pick here, the last guy we're going to talk about in this episode, in round 12, so the 12-10, that I have to decide on here. And I'm just going to go to a high scoring offense. I'm going to go to the number two running back there in Marshawn Lloyd. Um, and I just think with AJ Dillon being placed on season-ending IR today, that he was that Lloyd is just a good fit for some definitely get some work behind Josh Jacobs. And if this is the year Jacobs falls off after kind of a down efficiency year a season ago, then I think Lloyd could be in for more work than we think as early as this season. And we actually have two more rounds to dive into here, so don't leave us quite yet here, folks. We're in I'm back
Sorry
on
for
the clock
that.
here in the
Technical
13th round.
difficulties there, folks.
Hey,
Yeah, ignore those,
who's
please.
steering this ship here? Come on, get it
Sorry about
together.
that.
So back on the clock in this spot. I mean, what I've been saying about Jaden Daniels all year long is that he's good value in round nine, incredibly high upside. But you could also pair him with another quarterback later down the list. And I mean, the quarterback Aaron that Ethan should have taken in the last round is Deshaun Watson. I mean, you can say what you want about him being he's cash. He's not the Houston version of himself anymore, all you want. But when the guy plays, he's like a top 15 quarterback or so. And I just think he gives you a way more rushing upside than Kirk Cousins has. And I think people are just a little too high on Cousins, just seamlessly transitioning to a new offense with new players he's never played with before while recovering from a torn Achilles. So Watson's in his third year here with his Cleveland offense. It's a make or break year for him. We know he's still going to run the ball, so give me him here in at the 13-3.
I mean,
Yeah, I
you
like.
see,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Okay, I was gonna say I gotta rebuttal a little bit with the Cousins. I was actually thinking potentially Deshaun Watson. I know I talked about him in our AFC North episode here, but you said when he plays he's a top 15 quarterback. When Kirk Cousins plays, he's a top 12 quarterback. But no, I do understand Cousins does not have like any rushing upside. So I was a little wary with the Cousins pick, but I feel like I have just so much upside with my team right now. I was okay with a little safety in Cousins, but no, I do like the Deshaun Watson pick, and I was definitely flirting between him and um Cousins between Cousins and Watson on the at the 12-1.
What he meant to say was, "You're right. I know it."
All right, so my clock is ticking away here, and as I said, I liked those wide receivers in the last round so much. I grabbed Shaheed. Watson I was eyeing on. I mean, I guess commish kind of sniped my thinking there. As I said, I wanted a little bit more of a backup safety from Kyler. So looking at the board, I think Matthew Stafford's a smash pick here for me, just for add a little bit of QB safety. Um, so I didn't get it last round. I missed on Watts. I missed on the rushing upside. I mean, I guess next guy down you could consider is, yeah, like Gino, potentially take a shot on Bo Nix. He's got a little bit of rushing upside, but I would probably just go with another old reliable Matthew Stafford here.
Surprised you guys are double tapping quarterbacks. I usually never do that in standard redraft leagues, but I understand it. With me drafting Cousins at 12-1, I was thinking maybe swinging for the fences, even drafting a guy like Justin Fields, like with your last pick. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to review the board and see what we have cooking here.
Maybe I'll
What
just be
position
narrating
are
for
you
Ethan,
looking
but what
at?
he just said there was you guys shouldn't have taken those guys because I wanted to take a second quarterback.
No, I wasn't planning on taking a second
You
quarterback. Come on
lucky.
now. Okay, here we go. Um, I may just swing. Uh,
Are you looking at flex plays?
yeah, I may just. I mean, the last two picks, I may just swing for the fence here. Um, let me see. Okay, I guess. I mean, this isn't swinging for the fences, but I may just pick here for a PPR slot guy here at receiver.
Take Pop Douglas.
Yeah, that's exactly from the hometown
Just
team here, the
just
Patriots.
take him right out of my queue. Why
Homer
don't you?
pick.
Yes, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Nice call, Kamish. But just with the format and things like that, these should be getting a lot of targets. Um, Honestly, I don't mind the stack with Darnell Mooney here a little bit with Cousins. I know, Kamish, you love you some Darnell Mooney, but I mean that offense is always well, Kirk Cousins led offense. He's always been able to maintain at least two um top receivers here. But I'm debating him. You know what? I'm just gonna last pick. I'm going to select a rookie who we've talked a decent amount on this show. Where is he? If he hits and he can lock in that Tyler Boyd role, you never know. Jermaine Burton to the moon here.
There we go, baby. I thought you were gearing up for a Ricky Pearsall pick, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna take the red shirt guy?
Yeah, yeah, that's why. No,
Yeah,
I went upside with Burton, but no,
It's funny.
stay away from Pearsall right now until he gets actually
yeah.
back in
You
the
gotta love
field.
those 24-year-old rookies who aren't gonna get a shot from day one. Love that.
In redraft. Um, no, that's funny. So, as I mentioned earlier, I kind of got a little cute at the tight end possession. I keep eyeing it, kind of seeing who's left. I know I've been bragging. I like a lot of sleepers this year. Maybe the time I look at my actual starting tight end for the first 6 weeks. So I could go Tyler Conklin. This year I actually like his upside with Aaron Rodgers this year. I love my boy Noah Fant. As I said, Jono Smith's week to week touchdown upside, I think. Parkinson. Um
I mean, the position's as deep as it's ever been. I feel like
it's
you can stream and survive for the first 4 or 5 weeks.
yeah. Yes. I mean, I would be okay having like starting either Dolchich or Parkinson way later. So I mean, I could even keep punting a little bit longer, and I may actually just get slightly more running back depth. As I said, my bench running back right now is J.K. Dobbins, who's coming off not too many snaps the last couple of years. So I'm actually gonna go
Yikes.
to Leo McLaughlin, a
Another guy
decent.
coming right out of my queue. Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna go McLaughlin here. He's a nice PPR candidate. I mean, I would be comfortable starting him in my lineup later this season. As we're kind of anticipating the Broncos playing from behind a lot this year, potentially. So I'm gonna go McLaughlin here.
Yeah, I mean, another just a Sean Payton offense. They love their passing down running backs. I mean, we've seen a million of them come and go in those offenses, and the team also just release. They're working on either releasing or trading Samaje Perine. So he's not going to be in Denver this season, which just opens the door further for McLaughlin. So
Yeah, he's gone. I think they cut him today.
sounds great. I
There
mean,
it is, even better.
yeah. I mean, so
Even
it's
better.
wheels up for him in round 14. So I like that pick a lot. I'll just scramble here and find another stud on the board.
Yes.
Moody.
Hey, where's the league winner? Come on, where are they?
Hey, go to your crew. Oh, Will Fuller is available,
Hey,
by the way.
Quentin Johnston is available. I just want to throw that out there.
yikes. Yeah, I'm gonna try to not win 11th place in my league this year, and I'll avoid Quentin Johnston. I'm gonna go to a player that the former first round pedigree. He was getting hyped up earlier in camp this offseason with the Ravens. That's Rashad Bateman, Shoddy B, if
Oh,
you will.
Shoddy B.
Not the biggest Bateman fan in the world, but hey, it's round 14. Maybe this is the year he finally puts it all together. And if not, these last couple picks, guys, are the ones that the first guys you're gonna be cutting from your roster to add to the waiver wire. So I'm gonna
Yep.
give it a shot in the early going, see how it pans out, and then I'll just move on if I have to. But yeah, so that concludes our 14 round mock draft. The results are available there for you to see.
I'm gonna
And
leave it highlighted here on this team.
Aaron's very excited about the mock team draft team that he just grabbed. So that's awesome. I guess any quick thoughts, boys, on the draft, how it panned out, surprises, things you liked, etc. Open floor.
I mean, if I was able to draft a team like this, in my upcoming drafts, I'd be ecstatic. I mean, my wide receiver 5 is Christian Watson. My RB 5 is Rico Dowdle. So I'm pretty happy. So that's I just have, I mean, a ton of depth at running back, receiver. I got my guy Brock Bowers. I'm ready to cook.
I like Ethan's team a lot. I think he has I think he drafted the best team here, to be honest with you. And I never say anything nice about Ethan. Granted, the
What's
board
the
did kind of hit
what?
him in the face, obviously, a little bit. So he got lucky as well. Some of
Oh
those.
yeah, it's all
Yeah, because
skill.
Jalen
It's
Waddle
all
falls to
skill.
401 in every draft. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, it's a strong start. I'd be ecstatic too with that roster.
Yeah, I would be jumping up and down at the end of my just waiting to count that money when I win that ship.
I was actually going to bring that championship up. I think you're just good enough to lose to me in the finals.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, it's funny. I guess as far as my team goes, I really like the ninth position a lot this year. I really like taking a stab at Garrett Wilson. Round one, and then I really think as I mentioned, I got alphas all the way through my starting lineup and through benches. So I like my team. Of course, I think I'm going to be competing here for the chip here. Um, but no, I did a couple of strategies we've talked about in recent weeks, kind of punted a couple positions here and there. I grabbed Murray where I wanted him. Hawkinson, I think he'll be a nice end of the season player too. So I don't mind the ninth position. I think altogether we did pretty good at just showing, the three different, beginning and ending, or I guess the three different positions you can kind of pick from.
Yeah, I mean, drafting early. I mean, it's interesting where obviously you love the first player you get. Typically I go running back on the early on, but I hadn't really experimented much with going a wide receiver in this position. But I think full PPR was the place I think to take Tyreek Hill at that spot to see how that looked. And I don't necessarily love the way it looked, but I think I patched it together okay. I mean, Tyreek Hill obviously is going to do his thing, and he can win you weeks by himself. Devon Achane was a swing for the fences pick there at the 210. But the tough part about drafting at the back half of the very end of the round two is that you miss out on a lot of talent. A lot of talent comes off the board in the early to mid second round, and so it kind of puts you in a spot where if you want to try to keep up with the Joneses, essentially, you kind of got to take a swing on a guy. So that's what I did in the form of HN. Obviously, Evans, Mr. Consistent, super fine with him being my second wide receiver. I mean, there's no really counterpoint to Mike Evans, other than you could think maybe he's getting old, but this isn't Dynasty. You got to put your redraft brain on. So Evans in the third round was fine. Andrews, I absolutely loved at the end of the fourth round. I mean, come on, like he's going to be a top three tight end. I have tight end two, like I said, and then the running back position as well. I mean, just going with bodies. I mean, I'm high on that Arizona offense. Ramondre's going to get volume. Jerome Ford a little bit later. Lloyd's more of a scratch ticket, and then guys who someone like Calvin Ridley should be leading his team in targets. Coming over from Jacksonville this year, JSN, Palmer, guys that are kind of like upside swings, guys who could be target leaders on their team if everything goes right. So we'll see on that. And then, like I said, my flag plant, Jaden Daniels, and another upside guy in Deshaun Watson. So we'll see how that one pans out. But that's a look from the 103.
Yeah, I like one thing just on your team, Mish, I like what you did where as you mentioned you're pretty risky a little bit, going the Hill A chain approach, but you got a lot safer with guys like Evans, Andrews. I mean, even Connor when he's on the field is pretty steady. So even though you swung for the fences early, you backed it up later with a little bit safer picks to kind of even your team out.
Yeah, no, and even like the guys like Ramondre Stevenson. I think Ramondre Stevenson is a very talented running back. I think the only thing holding him back is one, the offensive line. So there's two things: the offensive line and how inefficient that offense is going to be. So the touchdown equity might not be there. But the only pick I really didn't love was the Calvin Ridley pick. I'm just not a big Calvin Ridley guy. I think I'd rather have Godwin, Watson, and Deontay Johnson over Ridley. I just think I don't know Will Levis. You still have Hopkins there. You have Tyler Boyd there. I mean, really should be the highest target earner. I just think Chris Godwin's gonna have a big year out of the slot, and I'm just really high on Watson and Deontay. But I mean, really, in the seventh round, you really can't go wrong. I think I just would have went a different direction.
Yeah, WR 38 off the board in this mock. I mean,
No,
so
it's
we're
not
getting
bad. Yeah.
getting into WR4 territory. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I haven't been the biggest Ridley guy either in the process. Maybe if I didn't have Evans already, I would have went Godwin. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Deontay was probably a more legit second guess, and I was happier. I mean, I like that pick for you, Aaron. So, but that's another guy in an inefficient offense, but he can make it up forward target volume. So we'll see how that one pans out. That one's interesting for sure. I guess any other takeaways on this exercise, boys, before we wrap things up?
Just ready for redraft season. Ready to draft those championship winning rosters.
That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
Hit us up, and then we got DFS season approaching next, so excited for
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. Make sure you're following us at Sunday Surefire on YouTube and on X at Sunday_Surefire. And like Aaron said, we're running into the Dynasty or Daily Fantasy DFS shows. We'll switch up the format a little bit, but we're still going to be giving you our, the bullish buys, high profile guys, those kind of like under the radar guys too that you slip into your lineups to give you that little extra pop to put you over the top. And we'll be talking some Thursday night football too. It's a nice little easy way to put some money in your pocket heading into the weekend. But that's our episode for tonight, folks. Thanks for sticking in here, and do not go anywhere. Make sure you're following us along all season long for the best content fantasy related. And that's all, folks. Until next time, peace.